Welcome to another The Builders Agency Lessons. Today's lesson is about mock-ups, but quick and dirty mock-ups. What is the quick and dirty mock-up? I don't know. It's something I made up about 10 minutes ago. It's something I realize I do quite often. So, what is a mock-up, first of all? Well, generally speaking, when you're doing a design for a website, sometimes you go straight to the mock-up. Sometimes you wireframe things. It depends on the project. Simple projects, you're going to go faster. you might skip a lot of the wireframing part of it and a lot more of the planning that you normally would do in a real hardcore project. But not every project's like that, right? Sometimes because of budget, because of time restraints or whatever, you have to do things quickly. So a wireframe is just basically laying out everything, how the user experience will be and where things will be placed. And it's not worrying about design. It's basically the structure of things, the structure of navigation, all that stuff's laid out. The mock-up is a little more fleshed out. It's actually essentially the design, right? It's what the page is going to look like on desktop, mobile, all your devices, and what that flow looks like and everything. But that's more about the design. You're going to design the hero section. You're going to design all the sections on the page and the content and typography and all that stuff. And we might use something like Adobe XD. Some people still use Photoshop. Sometimes we still do. Depends on what we're doing, right? But sometimes, so that's like a regular mock-up where you'd spend hours and hours and hours, days and days and days, or weeks, really fleshing that out, going back and forth, iterations to get a design solid, and then to hand it over to the coders to translate. But what is a quick and dirty one? So this week, and this is part of what these videos are, right? It's pulling lessons from this past week or recent history, at least, the last few weeks in our agency here, which we're a web design agency. So that's what most of these lessons will be revolving around. But sometimes we'll have lessons that can be applied to a lot of different agencies. And or businesses. And that's kind of today too, because this is actually about a relationship I have with another marketing agency, a digital marketing agency, conversion specialists. And they had sent me basically a bullet list. Sometimes, for us on the web design side, we are sent a bullet list that describes what they want. We want this. So basically in this project, we're redoing a page in Shopify. Actually, we're redoing a page. It's basically just some content, a picture. It's like kind of an about page. But on this page, they want some news. They want another feed, products, product listing. There's various things they want on this page, right? That's what we get, though. We get the bullets. So I look at that, I'm like, and I kind of hand it off to my developer and said, these are the things they want. This is how I visualize it in my head. I try to describe it a little further, right? And sometimes that's enough, right? Okay, we're going to use that feed, do it like this, or give them an example, describe it. But sometimes my developer will come back, a mock-up would be really, really helpful. Or some kind of visualization would be really helpful. So in this case, what I did is I sat down. It probably took me 30 minutes. I don't know. I don't remember. But what I'll do is I'll take a screenshot of that page, of the page we're working on, where it's at. We've already made some changes on this page. And then I'll just copy that flat image into Adobe XD, and then through the magic of hiding things and moving things around, copying things. So I'll go back to the website, maybe I can copy some typography from there, or like examples of this, which I was doing. So I had copied some stuff from there and then pasted it into this Adobe XD, moved some things around. And so by the time I was done, I had a nice little quick layout of what this should look like. And so then I gave that to my developer. And then my developer came back and had a couple extra development related questions. Well, how many posts from this feed should we show? And and so on and so forth. So then I go back to the marketing agency, right? And I said, I gave them actually that screenshot with the questions. And I said, this is it. We need to know how many because it's a long list. It could potentially be a long list. So a lot of times you want to just shrink that down to 3 or 4 or 5 items and then have like a read more. And so we got feedback on that, but it's an agency. So it was for their client. And so what they did is they actually took that screenshot. Now this is the mock-up that I originally did quickly with under a half hour. And they sent that off to the client to ask those questions. And the client came back very quickly. Said we'd like whatever they said, 3 or 5 items, and then read more to the full listing of products and whatever. So we got back what we needed. I sent that back to my developer. I haven't checked yet this morning, but I think he's building it, or may have built it already. But that's just one example, right? I do that a lot where I have to, and I think the lesson here, and this is about lessons. The lesson here is you have to leverage those things. You have to work quickly. You have to do things quickly in a lot of cases. And sometimes you don't have to do an enormous amount of work or like this full out process of like a mock-up. If you'd actually literally do it, from scratch, that's a whole thing. But here I'm cutting to the chase by taking a screenshot of that page and plopping it in there and then doing my magic. And it's very quick and easy, and it's enough. It's enough for my developer or the client, or in this case, the marketing agency, to look at it, visualize it themselves. Because bullet lists are nice, and I think I would imagine a lot of the problems that agencies or businesses even that are working with outside developers and stuff, a lot of the problems they have is they're not really good at communicating what they need. And for me, it's okay that I got a bullet list, right? Because sometimes that's fine, but you have to also be willing to go a little bit step further and help, because you're there to help. Like, well, at least my position is, I'm kind of like in the middle here, right? My position is to translate the vision of the agency and their client to my developer and make sure that there's communication between the two, everything's taken care of. And I think that's super important to have that ability to do that. And sometimes it's a video, sometimes it's other media, that just screenshots or whatever. But use all the tools at your disposal. It doesn't have to be this long drawn out process. Just do it quickly, just enough so everybody is on the same page and can check off some stuff on their to-do lists. Have a great weekend. Talk to you next time.